Hello everyone, Jocelyn Predovich, Lime Tree Lending Group. Today I'm here with Larry Clarke, ERA Real Estate. And we get a ton of questions about first-time home buyers. And we figured, why not talk to the expert about what the process is for first-time home buyers. But before we start, just a quick note. Larry actually has a couple of reports put together consolidating all the first-time home buyer programs, all the stuff on a great program we're going to tell you about in a second. So make sure to respond to this email so you can get those free reports. But Larry, what is the first step when you buy your house?
Well, Jocelyn, in 10 years I've been in the business, I get that question a lot. Where do we start? Well, what I recommend mostly is that any first-time home buyer contact a lender, a qualified lender. You have a choice out there between brokers and banks. I prefer brokers because they have a wider range of products to tailor to the individual needs of the buyer. The second step really is to pick a realtor.
Right.
Realtors are abundant these days. They've got a lot of time on their hands, but the first question I would ask a prospective realtor would be, are you full-time or are you part-time? I mean, this is the largest purchase they'll ever make in their lives, and we're talking about $150,000, $200,000,
right.
$250,000. What are their designations or qualifications? Those are those letters next to the business card,
Okay.
CRS, GRI, SRES. What do they mean? Because they're indicative of extra education, extra training, extra certification.
Right.
And communication. Is this realtor going to be available on the weekends?
That's important, right?
After 5 p.m. when you're available to look at a house? If they're not, they're probably not right for you.
Right.
Don't be afraid to interview a realtor. And when you sit down with your lender, ask them questions about payments. Ask them questions about what you can afford, because getting those numbers down first is very important.
Right, because you don't want to be out looking at houses that you can't afford as a first-time home buyer,
Right.
for sure. So what would your suggestion be on how first-time home buyers, they've never gone through this process, how do they find the right home for them?
Well, the word you used there was process. It is a process. It has a starting point, and I use a needs satisfaction approach. I want to learn everything about what my first home buyers want or need, even if they don't know what they want. I'm going to use a process of...
That's a good point, like what you may not even know you know.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to use a process of question, clarification, re-asking questions, and then we're going to visit properties, and we're going to go through the same process, narrowing down needs up until a point where they know exactly what they want. They can make an educated decision.
That's important, because there's a lot of stuff out there, so you need to have a way to figure out what is your priority when you're looking at a house. So, Larry, now, one of the questions we get all the time is, what is it going to cost me to work with a real estate agent? What is it going to cost me in closing costs for a loan?
Right.
Can you talk a little bit about
Sure.
that?
Well, there are three areas that involve costs. One is, what do you pay a realtor to help you find a home? Well, the seller of all the properties in our market is going to take care of all fees that are associated with me, the buyer's agent. So you don't have to worry about that. Number two...
And I just want to clarify, too, because that's so important, is the seller's covering the real estate agent, correct?
Correct.
Just to make a emphasis on that, because that is so important.
Right. And then when it comes to the loan, the buyers are going to pay closing costs associated with the loan of maybe 3.5% of the loan. Generally speaking, in this market, the conditions dictate that the seller is also going to pay the closing costs. So that only leaves one other item, and that's the down payment. And that's the responsibility of the buyer. And if I recall correctly, the market now for minimum down payments are 3.5%.
Right, and that's another thing that we have put together as an outcome of this, is a report of all the first-time home buyer programs, even for people that don't even have the 3.5% down. So there's so many options out there. So essentially, somebody could buy a house for 3.5% down or less, depending on what first-time homebuyer program that they involve themselves in. So that's exciting, because I think a lot of people think you have to have 20% down, right?
Exactly.
So foreclosures, short sales, bank-owned, HUDs.
Big part of the market these days.
Right.
Big part of the market. And it's a great option if you're prepared for it.
Okay.
And what I mean by prepared for is foreclosures are great value, short sales are great value, HUD homes are great values, but there's a question is the condition. Are you prepared to deal with the remodeling, the re-landscaping, or whatever else is required? And I know you have a special program that can help them out, especially for those who are not handy.
Well, and that's important, right?
Yes.
We have what's called as an FHA 203K is what Larry's referring to, and it gives the home buyer the ability to buy and fix up a property all in one loan with 3.5% down or less.
Right.
Actually, this is a government program that's been around for more than 30 years, and it gives you the ability to customize any home. So if you found a home and it needs repaired, you just roll it into your loan. If you find a home and you just don't like the kitchen, you can redo it with this loan. You can pretty much do anything from appliances to scraping and rebuilding a house with that program. So that's such an important loan program when looking at foreclosures and short sales. Now, is it worth it to buy a foreclosure or short sale? Would they save money?
Okay. They're going to save money. It's a great value, and I would recommend it.
Yeah,
in this market.
Well, and I think just what you said is knowing the expectation going into it, right? Which is why to have somebody that's experienced, such as yourself, to know how to work through those different processes. But it can absolutely be worth it. And just to wrap all of this up, what you need to do is respond to Larry for both of those reports. The first-time homebuyer report, which again includes all the first-time homebuyer programs that are available to first-time homebuyers in the Denver area, and as well as Aurora, all of those programs, Douglas County, as well as the FHA 203K report, how that works, how you could take advantage of that for this market. So, Larry, let everybody know how to get in touch with you.
Well, the best way to reach me would be call me on my cell phone, 303-521-7188, or you can, if you prefer, email Larry C. It's LARRYC 5213 at comcast.net.
Thanks, Larry, for doing this with me.
Thanks, Jocelyn.